So you have to ask, is there a correlation there? Is there, I mean, the ancient Greeks didn't start out by being, pedophiles. But as that sort of type of system rose, well, the Greeks found themselves, many of the ancient Greek city-states found themselves in desperation and eventually being destroyed. Is there a correlation with that? I think there is. I think there is a direct correlation with what is considered to be societal norms and what is considered to be, societal mores. And when you have a decline in those societal mores, I think you're going to have a decline in your society as a whole. And I think, historically speaking, I'm backed up by historical fact. Over and over and over again. And that depravity can come from the leadership, whether it be a king, queen, emperor, potentate, what have you, all the way down to the lowest denominator of the pauper. Whenever you get a society who has depravity on the rise, their society as a whole is going to be on the decline. And if they do not reverse their depraved state of mind, their society will ultimately be destroyed. Plain and simple. And maybe, with what is going on now, maybe America is trying to get a handle and a grasp on our mores because they have just dipped so far into the basement. It's not even in a basement; it's in a sub-level somewhere right now. It really is. But I know that there is a rise of some, and we've seen surveys about this, how the younger generation, certain members of Generation X and the younger generation, their morals are a little bit, how shall we put it, a little bit stiffer than their parents. In other words, they're kind of reverting a little bit. Not enough in my book, but they're kind of reverting a little bit back to, in certain areas of moral practice in one's own personal and societal life. They're kind of reverting a little bit back to the good old days. Any twist or turn back to the good old days is a good sign because it means that people are recognizing we can't stay on this current path. We just can't. And as far as I'm concerned, good commercials. He probably helped a lot of people lose a lot of weight, and he helped build the Subway brand and all that kind of stuff. But the man did something so reprehensible that he needs to go to jail for the rest of his life, as far as I'm concerned. Plain and simple. Put him away. That's it. Forget about him. He's done. Done. I know, you're thinking, well, Rod, we're going to have to pay for him in prison. Well, there are certain things that we can afford to do. And to take dangerous people like that off the streets for good, I think that's a good investment in America. Really is. Plain, it really, it is. I don't know what else to say about that. Hey, politicos out there. I know some of you are politicos. I'm not talking about the website Politico. I'm just saying you're following politics closely. And a lot of people are following politics now because of who? Donald Trump. Donald Trump has got a lot. I mean, we saw normally what you probably get during a debate like the last debate is probably, in the neighborhood, less than 10 million viewers. Well, by the time it was all said and done, Fox had a viewership of a little over 25 million and a total listener viewership combination of probably around 35 million people. That's unheard of. And you got Donald Trump, who's still very strongly in the lead as far as the polls are concerned on the Republican GOP nomination side. And you're starting to see the rise of other people who are speaking more candidly and forcefully, like Dr. Carson. His numbers are continually on the rise. So the American people are finding Donald to be intriguing, that they're following him, and people that weren't interested. We've always said we need to find somebody who wasn't boring and stiff, like Al Gore and Mitt Romney, they were just kind of boring and stiff. Nobody really, they couldn't pay attention to them. They'd fall asleep if they were listening to them give a speech. But Donald has ignited something. So people like Obama, for the Republicans, I guess you could say, Donald is the Republicans' Obama. And I remember when Obama started to pick up steam and pass Hillary in the polls in 2008, people started that never really paid attention before or didn't pay attention in a long time on the Democratic side, all of a sudden started to pay attention. And then they participated. Well, this is the same thing that's happening on the Republican side. And I got to tell you, the Democrats and the liberals and the lamestream media are scared to death of the Donald. Because he's doing exactly what Obama did back in 2008. But unfortunately, the Donald is not a Democrat. And they know that if the Donald can muster and hang in there long enough, even if he doesn't eventually get the nomination, but if he can stay relevant and in the forefront throughout the entire process until November of 2016 or even October of 2016, he is going to keep the interest of so many people, and they're going to come out and they're going to vote. And that's not good for the lamestream media or the Democrats. Just saying. And you got to understand that, Donald is reaching across racial lines and racial barriers, too. And everybody thinks, oh, Donald's just for, only, rich white people are liking Donald. That's not true. Have you heard of the girls for Donald? I think that's what they're called, the girls for the women or something like that. Anyway, they're kind of a YouTube sensation right now. They're two black women. Two black women that sing the praises of Donald Trump. And actually, there's something, I'm going to do something right now that I don't normally do. I don't do a lot of. I'm going to play a clip from one of their videos on YouTube. And I will post this on my website, rodeccles.net, so you'll be able to see it a little bit later. You'll be able to see the video and put faces to these voices. Listen to this. This is now. Remember, now of course, when you hear them, you'll probably hear the urban or black accent, I guess, but in their tonality. And let me tell you, they're black women. And these two are definitely black women. They're fully behind the Donald.
Hey, y'all. Okay, so now first let me just thank everybody for all of the gifts, the CDs, the books, and the movies that you all sent.
Yes.
We really do appreciate it. But let me tell you why I am tingling today.
Tell us
Honey,
why.
Mr. Donald Trump, he was down there in Phoenix, Arizona, talking to Sheriff Joe Aparo about that border.
Yes.
And I said, you know what?
What?
That's what leaders do,
That's
honey.
what they
and
do.
then I found out that he started talking to Senator Sessions to put some things in place, policies in place concerning that border.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? It can't get no better than that.
Can't get no better.
Then he said, you know what?
What?
We're going to have to deport these illegals.
That's what he
and I said, you know what? I said, now that's how you lead, baby.
That's how
you
you
don't
lead.
just talk about your budget book. You go ahead on and start being about it. And that's what I like about him.
Yeah.
Now, see, Donald, one more thing, though. Can you just implement one more thing?
Yes.
Put this guy in place, this white boy in place that we seen the other night on the DVD. What is his name? What is his name?
Dennis Michael Lynch.
Put this guy right here.
Let me show him.
Put him on that border and let him be border patrol.
Woo.
Let him be the one, but border patrolling that whole border, honey.
Yes,
China, nothing ain't never been finer. This is a guy right here that can take and be out there on that border, honey, and keep us safe from anybody coming in. He can stop them from coming in.
Yes,
and you know what?
Wow.
This is going to be so great for Americans. Now Americans that live on that border, honey, they will feel safe.
Yes.
Americans right here in this country, they will feel safe.
Yes.
We won't have to see Americans holding up signs talking about we'll work for food.
That's right.
Because now there'll be jobs available.
Yes.
Those people that gets out of prison, they will have jobs to go to.
Yes.
Those people that don't have a job, they will have jobs to go to.
Yes.
Those people that's driving down the cost of wages, you know, from the illegal immigrants, that won't be no more. Wages will be up, where the middle class won't be shrinking, but the middle class will start to grow again. Listen, we're not saying that illegal immigrants can't come into our country. We're just saying that you got to come over here legally.
That's right.
You got to come over here legally instead of illegally if you want to be in our country. And listen, you got to come correct. If you can't come correct, you got to just stay away. And see, it's time for politicians to start taking our needs first. That Constitution said, we the people. It's time for you to start looking out for we the people. You can't have these people coming up over here. We don't know who they are. We got to know who these people are. And see, that's why we're looking at Donald Trump. He's the only one that has the nerves enough to go down there and do what he say he gonna do and get it done. He's using a common sense approach to all of this mess that's going on in the country. Now, Donna, honey, you're making us proud. We're looking at you with a good eye, baby. Don't stop what you're doing. America is looking at you. And, honey, we're ready for you to leave. Keep doing what you do, baby. Okay? We love you, and you have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I don't know what else to say about that. When I heard that, man, yeah, you might want to. You're probably out there cracking up and dying and listening to these two, but they have made certain points, and they were very, flamboyant, if you want to call it. Very urban-esque, if you want to call it that. But, honey, let me tell you, child, they got it on. They hit the nail on the head. And they're right with Donald. See, this is what I'm talking about. These people wouldn't normally be so excited or into politics. But the Donald is out there doing this. He is out there raising the level of discourse. He's even forcing the wonderful, well-rehearsed, well-polished politicians out there, he's now forcing them to start talking about reality. I mean, now they're starting to say some real stuff, and they're starting to hit hard, and they're starting to try to tell the truth, even if we don't want to hear it. And those who keep fostering the old style, polished behavior and rehearsed answers and they stay on message type of bull crap. They're like Jeb Bush, they're sinking in the polls. People are tired of that now. I mean, because you have too many people who are being excited by this whole process this time around, who are jumping into politics and paying attention, and that's always a good thing when you have people who are paying attention before they go out and vote. That's important. Pay attention. Learn about the candidates before you go out and vote, instead of having all these people who are just, going around voting by soundbite and voting because their friend said, oh, yeah, well, you got to vote for this guy. No. The people are starting to pay attention. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. That's a good thing. You can't look. And he's not just, well, you just heard those two ladies. They're not suburban white gals. They're probably urbanite black gals, African American gals. And if you look and watch some of their videos, and they have made some points that you cannot deny. You can't deny the truth. Well, I mean, liberals will try. They'll try to obfuscate. They'll try to smear. They'll try to counter with lies, all that kind of stuff, the real truth. But when it comes right down to it, if you keep speaking, because look, we have the old notion that if you tell a lie often enough, people will believe it. That might be true, but if you tell the truth often enough and you tell it loud enough, more people will understand it. And that's more important than believing it, because once they understand it, then you cannot tell them a lie and get away with it. You hear what I'm saying? When you tell people the truth and you tell it to them often enough and loud enough so they finally understand the truth, they cannot be convinced with a lie anymore. You cannot obfuscate the truth with a lie once somebody knows the truth and they understand that truth. No lie can stand. If you're gonna get a little religious, Satan can't stand the truth. He loves misconceptions and lies. Oh yeah, he loves that all day long. Because it's easy to manipulate somebody. You can only manipulate a lie. I know this whole notion, well, you can manipulate the truth. No, you can't manipulate the truth, because the truth is the truth. You can manipulate a lie. But once people understand the truth, Oh, you can't manipulate them with a lie any longer. And I think Donald is out there, and he's starting to get people to understand what the truth is. And this is why Hillary's starting to lose support, because they understand that she's a liar, not a truth teller.